Here we are. I've broken ground on my plot. As you can see, it's been cultivated. It's quite a rough job in that this field has been in pasture for quite a few years and it had a really thick, thatched grass sward.
What's this, Trevor? What's this?
So it's very hard to get a good finish on that, but that's okay. I'm going to go over this now, removing the big clods of grass and preparing it for seeding. My plans have progressed naturally. All good plans are made so that they can evolve, and that's one of the things I've learned as a landscape designer is never be too fixed on your plans, because when we're working with landscape and plants, these are living ecological systems that need to evolve and change because that's how life works. And so I've been coming up with some basic plans. I've got a kind of a first draft of the layout. In zone 1, the most highly concentrated area of resources, energy and production is near the entrance of the field, and this will be the nursery, the syntropic mother rows for propagating the plants, really high intensity growing where plants grow rapidly, creating biomass and cutting material. And this is where I'm going to first plant my personal plant collection, the plants I've collected over the years, which I'm ready to get in the ground. Zone 2, coming out from the nursery, if we look at this plan, is the edible meadows. Here I want to experiment with designing and tending to edible meadow plant communities. I don't want to stick to only growing UK natives, however. I want this to be a tall, herbaceous vegetation. I just love the thought of wandering through this with tall grasses and diverse herbaceous perennials that are in flower, and I can harvest ingredients for my food and really experiment with how can we design and create meadows where we harvest our food from. Then in zone 3, create this part of the plot at the bottom, I'll create an edible forest garden. This is going to also be a very experimental edible forest garden in that I'm going to broadcast a diverse seed mix of plants that are going to improve the conditions, increase the process of succession, ecological succession. And ecological succession, for those who don't know, is the stages from bare ground through to climax woodland. We have a succession of plants that get established to improve conditions for the next successionary stage of plants. And so I'm going to design a seed mix of annuals, perennials, fast growing, like such pioneer plants, plants that specifically improve those conditions for woody plants. And I'm also going to experiment with incorporating a diverse range of tree seeds that are going to be broadcasted so that they germinate and emerge and grow in situ. So this is going to be zone 1 up here, the intensive use area, the nursery and the syntropic rows, mother rows for taking propagation material. Zone 2, the edible meadows, experimenting with edible herbaceous plant communities, and this will be created from seed, and then over time I'll interact with it, creating micro disturbances, seeding into it. And then in zone 3, at the bottom of the plot, the furthest away from the the high use area will be the edible forest garden. The edible forest garden that initially is going to be established from a diverse broadcasting of seed, annuals, perennials, biennials and tree seeds, as an experiment to see what happens. And then this is year one, and then as the years go on, I will be the ecosystem engineer, coming into these different edible ecosystems, creating disturbances as the gardener, and planting and seeding more diverse plants. Because the idea here is to explore how can we as humans live in symbiosis with life? How can we learn from our past in that we as humans have tended the ecosystems around us throughout most of our history, actually improving the environment for other life whilst providing for our own needs. So this plot is really an experimentation into edible ecosystems and exploring how can we provide for our own needs while supporting the needs of diverse ecologies. I'm excited about the project, and I feel like an idea is emerging. This idea is not fixed, and I'm completely open for this to evolve and change as I learn more about the land, as I have different ideas that evolve, and seeing how the plants react and what plants want to grow where. That's really one of the beautiful things about working with seed, is when you scatter or broadcast a diverse range of seeds, those plants choose to grow in the areas suitable for them, and they volunteer themselves. And then when they grow from seed in situ, in the situation of where they germinated, they rapidly put down root systems that connect with the indigenous microorganisms, and they grow strong plants that are adapted to the conditions compared to if we plant larger species. Bit of a development on my thinking I asked a few questions. One of those was, which way should I orient the syntropic rows for year one, phase one? I've come to decide that I'm going to do it along the contour. Look at this plan here. Along the contour, not going with the rectangular plot, because I can work that, and I like the idea of these being on contour, helping soak water into the ground and conserve soil. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to design the tree crops so that they are designed in a way that they don't cast as much shade on each other, and there's more open canopy for lower species which are below them. I'm still not fully decided on whether I will bring in organic matter or whether I'll use what's here, seed into it, and then build biomass from the plants growing here. It's a tricky one, because when you bring in huge amounts of organic matter, it's quite difficult to know the quality of that, how much plastic and pollution it has, or potential antibiotic residues or other chemicals. It's also very unsustainable, in my opinion, to use so much carbon to process this organic matter and transport it. So it's not something I want to rely on the long term, but I do see the value in bringing that in year one to get the syntropic rows established rapidly, to build biomass, produce food, and increase the growth rate of the mother plants for propagation for the nursery. There is a lot of value in that, but there's also the point of creating a lower maintenance system. Because when we bring in one of these big batches of a sterile compost, sterile in, it would have been brought up to a high enough temperature to sterilize it of potential weed seeds that might get established in our plot. So when we create a thick layer of this in our rows, it suppresses weed germination, and that supports the plants we want to grow in that situation, and it reduces that ongoing weeding. So yeah, I'm not quite decided on this yet. I'm still exploring my options, but things are moving forward. And if you're someone in the Totnes area and you want to come and get involved, do a knowledge exchange for labour, I would love to hear from you. I'd love your help. Come and get involved in the plot, and I will share my knowledge of landscape, ecology, permaculture, and we can chat and work the land. Okay, bye for now, and I'll give another update soon. Oh, you got mud in my neck now, Trevor. This is hard work, but I'm loving it.